Hi, Austin Mayor Steve Adler. Got a minute? Let's go over some of the virus numbers, and then we have some COVID funding numbers to talk about briefly that are right now in front of Congress. But we'll get to that here in just a second. Let's begin with the COVID numbers that we have. We'll begin with the dashboard with the key indicators that we use for sharing. This is the number we normally look at first, 7-day moving average. We're at 50. That's solidly in the orange, crossing the line from red to orange. You know that Dr. Escott took us from red to orange yesterday. The number dropped down more. It was 53 yesterday. Today, number of admissions were 43. That dropped us to 50, down from 53. We were at 52 yesterday. 9.4 is the number of positivity this past week. I told you that was a good sign, but the numbers were not quite complete. They're more complete today. I'm not sure if they're still not quite complete, more complete, but the number's at 9.9. So it's not quite the 9.4, but it's still better than the 12% that we were looking at the week before. Number of new cases today, 347, which is just above the 7-day moving average of 334, but generally speaking, cases going down. This is the trend. Hopefully we'll continue the way that we're going. This is the 7-day moving averages of hospitalizations, ICUs, and ventilators. Let's take a look and see what the actual numbers are. So we'll go to the other dashboard that we have. This is the Travis County dashboard. Here we have it. The number of people that are hospitalized tonight, where we are 411. The 7-day moving average, 462. So it's substantially below that number. Of the 411, 35 are in the alternate care site. ICU, the number is 130. The 7-day moving average, 137. So it's down from the 7-day moving average. Ventilator, 7-day moving average, 94. So the actual 87 that we have on ventilators tonight is also below the 7-day moving average. As compared to yesterday, we've gone from 424 to 411. We've gone from 132 to 130. We've gone from 94 to 87. In part, this number has gone down because the number of deaths has gone up. We're at 701 today. Yesterday, we were at 695. That means there are 6 people who have passed away. Even though the number of cases going down, and we're now just under 73,000, even though hospitalizations going down, ICU is still a deadly disease. The last number that's going to slow and follow the path will be the mortality number, the people that are passing away. I would. The University of Texas dashboard we don't need to take a look at because it hasn't been updated, but still we have an R factor, same as yesterday's model was 0.75, which means the virus is headed down, and we just need to maintain that with the masking. But that's the reason why we've gone to that next area. Let me talk a little bit about some funding numbers. The state on Monday, February 15th, the state's going to open applications for their rental assistance program. The state has one too. They're implementing this is rent that is available to both let's see here. This is rent available to both renters and landlords. You can get more information and qualifications by going there to texasrentrelief.com. You can see the site. You can also, by phone call, the number there is 1-833-989-7368. and access the state rent relief program, both landlords and tenants, because obviously we still have a lot of people that are still hurting real badly in the city. I don't know how to make that go away. Let's see if we can do that. Well, we may just leave it there. All right. Also, let me talk about some federal money. That's state money. We're all waiting to see what happens in Congress. You're watching what's happening in the news. The president wanting a $1.9 trillion package. The Republican proposition was like $600 million. One of the key differences in the package from the president and the packages proposed by the Republicans is the inclusion of money that is earmarked for state, local, and tribal government fiscal and financial assistance. The president's bill has $350 billion out of the $1.9 trillion that's earmarked for local folks. Some of the Republicans not supporting that concept. If the president continues to move forward with his bill, obviously that's in there. If they do that with the reconciliation package, the president's bill is working its way through the committees in the House. They're now taking that idea and those general principles and actually doing the markup. They're actually writing the bill itself and putting in the details that don't exist when you're looking at just large ideas. And last night, for us in this city, the most important part of the package came out of the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee. And as expected, it included the $350 billion for state and local governments. That's split between $193.5 billion for states and the District of Columbia. And each state has a minimum of $500 million. The $169 billion, after you've given each state $500 million guarantee, the $169 is allocated among the various states based on their share of unemployed workers. That means that there's, in addition to that 193 for states, there's $130.2 billion. That's divided between cities and counties. It's being divided equally between cities and counties. $45.57 billion goes through the city funding formula, where we get a lot of the federal grants here locally. And $19.53 billion is earmarked for cities that are not large enough to qualify normally for that federal grant program. So that money is going to the states for delivery to those cities. So those are the smaller cities, primarily, I think, cities under 50,000 people. In the first go-around last year, they didn't receive any CARES Act funding. This proposal has them getting money as delivered through the state. $65.1 billion goes to county based on population, and they would receive that via a population formula. We don't know exactly how much that would mean for us in the city of Austin and in Travis County, but unofficially, some of the folks that we work with in DC estimate that if this stayed in this form from the committee, and who knows if that's going to ultimately happen. It could change on the House floor. It could change before it got to the House floor. The president could strike a deal with Republicans and it could all go away. But if this stays the way that it looked when it came out of the markup, it would look like Austin would get about $181 million and Travis County would get $249 million. That's more than we got in the first CARES Act funding. I think we were $150, $170 million range. Those go up to $181. If this happens, then this money would be available 60 days after it was passed. The funds would be available until they are expended, so there wouldn't be a set deadline or cutoff the way that they were for. This is money that would be intended to respond to or mitigate the COVID-19 pandemic or its negative economic impacts. It would be designed to cover pandemic emergency costs. It would also be used to replace lost or delayed or decreased revenue from what was anticipated back in January of 2020. So decreases in sales tax, decreases in ad valorem tax, decreases in fees and the like, lost revenue that the city would have. It would also help reimburse for that. The manager took us into an immediate emergency situation. We didn't hire employees. We didn't fill vacancies. And we started off with a pretty significant reserve fund, which we have really spent down in an effort to get relief out to people in our community. Locally, this bill, if it was approved in this form, would help us continue to really help the residents and businesses as we have during the course of the year. It might enable us to reach to some businesses in industries that we haven't been able to get to yet. It would help us respond to and mitigate the virus pandemic, its negative impacts, and address the negative implications, help keep us strong in the city, help with folks that are out of work and not earning income, helping the businesses and the industries, the nonprofits and the like. Let's keep our fingers crossed that we will get this relief to help us. Well, those are the numbers. Again, with respect to vaccinations, the city got 12,000 doses of vaccinations. Those would be additional first doses. It looks like, and then we got some second doses. Our first set of second doses came in 12,000. We obviously have more people who got the first doses. Right now, Austin Public Health is calling people and reaching out to the folks that got the first dose to give them a time to be able to schedule to come in and get their second dose. Recall that initially we were told that you had to get the second dose best in 23 to 28 days. CDC is now up to 42 days. We're pretty sure we're going to be able to get the second dose to everybody who got the first dose. You don't have to go online. You don't have to register. Austin Public Health is going to reach out to you to make sure that you get a time and the ability to be able to get your second dose. The first dose, the other 12,000, got us to about 60,000 doses altogether with Austin Public Health. There's been about 200 and some odd thousand. It looks like in our region generally. At this point, it looks like approximately about a little over 10% of the population here in Travis County has been able to get a first dose. Smaller number than that having gotten their second doses. We're trying to work with the tech system so that people just don't have to keep going online trying to get a spot. See if we can do some queuing perhaps or some registering. We're also reaching out to people that are over a certain age level that might not have access to computers, so they get a phone call and someone to help walk them through the system and help them both register and get an appointed time. My hope is we'll have more news than this over the next week or so as we try to streamline that process, make it work better for people. It's still real important, as is doing this in a way that really gets to the populations that we need to target the most, that are the most vulnerable and susceptible, and we continue to work on that. So this is the first week where we're giving out 12,000 first doses, and we're also giving out 12,000 of the second doses, having now got the second doses. Again, if you live here in the city or want to go on and get registered, you can go on to the site and register. Know that we have over 100,000 people signed up and to get a vaccine, and we don't have enough vaccine for everyone. But you can go in and register. We're going to be hitting the people that are over 65 first. So you have to be patient if you're under 65. We're trying to elevate people that have comorbidities or conditions under 65, but there are just so many people in line waiting. We still have almost 12,000 people over 80 in our community that haven't gotten a vaccine yet. So we're trying to improve the process so that it's less frustrating, but the biggest frustration is we just don't have the supply yet. Indications from the federal government is that they're increasing the supply. We also get indications from the federal government that they may be pushing out some of that supply through pharmacies and through grocery stores. That's not a choice we make. That's something that if it happens at the federal level. We're well aware that distributing the vaccines that way is not the best way to get the vaccine into the parts of our city where have the folks that are the most vulnerable, which means Austin Public Health is going to have to backfill that process. We're trying to improve communications, trying to get more emails out to people, trying to work with the website so that it is more user-friendly and gives people more information. With that, this is Wednesday night. We're off Got a Minute tomorrow, and we'll be back right after that. Everybody, take care, be safe, and good night.